2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple, who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
Let's break down the masks.
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin. What's up, you guys? Welcome to another installment of the Therapy Brothers. Again, it is the Therapy Bro today, Brannon, and Tyler's done plenty of episodes without me, and his wisdom is really good when I'm not around. So I hope that I can try to match that a little bit, but I know I can't. I'm the little brother. I've never been able to live up to him. So, and I've stopped caring about that, but I'll do my best for you today. I promise. I think we have a really cool topic that I'm going to get into, and it's kind of this life hack that I think is so amazing when you figure it out, but a lot of people never figure it out. And it's this thing that happens to us, and then when we grow up, we just kind of start to realize that it's happened to us. So let me explain this a little bit. When we're born, one of the most important things that we realize that we need is connection to other people. We survive because we connect. We connect to our mother. She feeds us. We survive because she holds us. She wants to be close. She accepts us. So one of the first things that happen in our life is we breathe, and usually we're put with our mother and we connect. So we have this natural, instinctual but instinctual in our nature to want to be connected to. Totally normal. What happens as we grow up, this need starts to get reinforced. We want others to validate us, to see us, to know us, to not think that we're crazy or stupid or over the top, to not think that we're ugly or not worthy of love, because we want connection. It's so deeply embedded in us. We need it. And we start, so what we do because of this is we start to do things to try to make sure that we have that connection. And the crazy thing is the things that we do to try to make sure that we have that connection leads to disconnection. And it's this tricky thing because we think that it works and it doesn't. And the more that we put forth our efforts to try to gain connection, the more that we push away. So let me explain. We want connection. Connection's fine. But think about, how are you going to connect to somebody when you're putting on a show to try to get connection? And our um, attempts to gain connection by putting on that show are we all use different tactics. And I'm going to get into some of those specific tactics in this episode. Um, but the great lie, let's talk about the great lie. The great lie is I need to perform to get others to like and accept me. So, why is that a lie? And I'm not talking about performance like a singer on a stage. They're getting validation. They're creating some connection to their music and things like that. I'm not talking about that performance. The type of performance that I'm talking about is I need to become what others need me to be in order for them to like me. So if I'm at church, I need to act extra churchy. If I'm in grad school, I need to act extra smart. How many grad students are sitting there with imposter syndrome thinking if they really knew how smart I was? But they sit there and answer all the answers as best that they can to show that they're really smart. That Brené Brown talks about the three ways in which people perform. They move toward, away, and against their shame. And shame is just fear of abandonment. So moving toward is trying to show that you're good enough. It's kissing up, it's overcompensating, it's working way too hard. Moving against is when you feel like you're not good enough, you turn the tables and you fight. You try to prove the other person that they're not good enough because you're feeling vulnerable. And you move away, which is I'm scared that I'll be seen as not good enough, so therefore I won't put forth myself to get abandoned or rejected. I'll sit on the sidelines. Just won't go there. Just won't put myself out there. So I play small. So you see these things, okay, I'm overcompensating in one, I'm pushing against in another, I'm playing small in another. Are any of those things creating connection? No. The great lie is I need to perform in order to get others to like me. The truth is the more that you perform, the less others want to connect to you. But the trauma is driving the shame, is driving the fear, is driving the disconnection. One of my favorite guys is my little brother, and I talk about him a lot because he's one of my favorite guys. And it's interesting because he's known to be a pretty authentic guy. He lays it all out there. He just puts it out there. And I've seen it before where he'll talk about a mistake that he made or something, and everyone's like, and he's just wide open about it. He's authentic. He's just talking about it and owning it, and people are laughing or they're asking him about it, and they feel really comfortable when he's talking about his mistakes. And then another person will walk in the room with a mistake that is far less like severe, so to speak, and it'll get awkward and uncomfortable and they can't talk about it and nobody wants to listen. It's not about the things that they've done. It's about how they're showing up with the mistakes that they've made that creates connection or disconnection. Um, I think like I could give some examples of people that you may not like, but and that's the point is when you show up authentic, some people will reject you. Some people won't like you, but you're still being authentic. Take a person like Joe Rogan, who millions and millions of people listen to, and what he'll do is just kind of throw it out there. His opinion, his thoughts, his self, he'll just throw it out there. And or take like a Simon Cowell, who, yeah, maybe he was a little harsh sometimes back in the day, but we're like everyone's watching it and they're thinking, okay, that person sucks at singing. And all the other judges are like, well, you maybe next year you should come back, and Simon's like, you suck at singing. Well, he's just honest and open, and now he could be a little nicer with the way he communicates, but the point is that he's being authentic. Being authentic isn't just being a jerk, it's just being real. Um, Influencers are, it's interesting who has the followers with influencers. There's so many influencers. I guess technically I am one because I'm talking on a podcast right now. Um, but influencers, they have a lot of followers if they're extremely authentic or if they're extremely fake. If they're really good at being fake, they'll get a lot of followers. If they're really good at being authentic, they'll get a lot of followers. It's the people on the in between that don't get many followers. Now, the fake ones, people are amused by. They can still sense how fake they're being or how masked up they are, but they're fascinating to watch. The authentic ones, people are like, oh my gosh, breath of fresh air. Saying things that other people are unwilling to say, but you say them anyways. Being honest, being vulnerable, being open. Sometimes I think on social media, there's a lack of boundaries. I think that, but some people are very authentic on social media. And what's interesting is like that's where people are like, oh, I like watching that because they're just real. I don't know if social media is the right place to do it, but it's fascinating to me that people connect to that authenticity. And with the influencers who are extremely fake, people are not connecting to the authenticity. They're just getting entertained. Um, at In my groups and at the retreats and things, if somebody comes in and they're putting on a show, they're masking up, they're trying to manipulate for love or connection or validation. Um, Sometimes we'll do things where we'll get really honest with each other and talk about how disingenuine you're being or how fake that you're being. And it's interesting because it's like cutting open a wound that's infected and getting the infection out. What happens is it's really uncomfortable when people get called out for being fake. When they're shame screening or masked up and other people can see it and they're saying, look, we can see this. They're like, oh shoot, like I've been trying so hard to like fool you guys to love me, but it's not working, obviously. You can see right through it. That's what Brené Brown talks about. She's like, these shame screens are like smoke screens that you think you're hiding behind, but people can see right through. And what happens when you get that feedback? This is what's interesting. In a group or a retreat or whatever, you get that feedback that's really honest from that person. And by the way, it takes courage on the part of the person giving the feedback to be that authentic to somebody who's not authentic. Somebody who's not authentic is like, ugh, I don't want you to be authentic with me. I get uncomfortable if we're too real. I get uncomfortable if we're too honest. And when that person can come and say, look, I love you, and you're here to do this, to recognize what you're creating in your life. I want to give you some feedback. That feedback is all about that person that's giving the feedback. But if they say certain things, certain unwanted identities or masks that that person is actually putting on and it rings true, it gets really uncomfortable until it doesn't. So for a minute, we're digging that shame out, that infection. We're noticing it, we're seeing it, we're understanding it. Um, and what happens, this is what's like a miracle, is when you strip down the shame, when you break down the shame, all of a sudden you experience real connection. Where it's like, we don't love you because of the performance that you're putting on. We just love you. You, who you are. You can be a mess. You can be inadequate in so many ways, and you're okay. And that person who's been putting on the dog and pony show their whole life, and they recognize, oh my goodness, you see right through all of it, and you still accept me. That's where connection happens. Real connection. And there's a feeling of like love, and there's a feeling of relief that comes. Like, oh, I'm okay. I don't have to work so hard to be loved. Connection does not come through working hard to get it. Connection comes through taking your guard down. Once you take that guard down, then you're available to actually be seen and known. If that guard is up, if all those protective parts and all those masks are there, you're not available to be seen and known. But you have to be vulnerable in order to do it. So if the great lie is I need to perform to get others to like or love me or accept me, the great solution is I need to face the fear and discomfort of rejection and have the courage to show up authentically. And when I can do that, then I can create things like intimacy, deep love, actual support, feelings of belonging. But what I always say is the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. I'm making this sound really, really simple. Stop showing up performing and start showing up authentic. Okay, that's so simple. But no, there's a moment. There's a moment when it's like, I'm going to be honest with this person, and they might hate it that I'm honest, and I'm scared of that, to sit in that. I remember when I was a young therapist, just starting, and I was Mr. Nice Guy. I wanted everybody to like me. I was scared to make anybody uncomfortable. I wanted them to just tell me how awesome I was and kind I was and nice I was. And I went to this group, and I was sitting in this group, and I was shadowing the group. And I had been shadowing a lot of groups, and I was just trying to figure out what's my place in this therapy world. How do I fit? Because I'm not retaining clients because I'm trying so hard to get them to like me. They don't want to spend money to just have me try to get them to like me. So what do you know? I wasn't retaining clients. And that was my mask. My mask was Mr. Nice Guy, um, just not make waves, not create problems with people, and at the cost of being able to be honest with people. That doesn't really work if you're trying to build a career as a therapist. Um, so I went to this group, and this guy shows up in so much denial, just manipulating, justifying, minimizing, like all of the things, all of the thinking errors you can think of were like there. He was masked up in every single way. His protective parts filled every corner of that room. And I'm sitting there, and what happens when somebody starts doing that is everybody else starts to get a little uncomfortable and starts to take on. If they don't want connection, their masks come out too. And so I was in this group of several guys who were just starting recovery, and they were not healthy themselves, and they all just started supporting him and all these thinking errors. And I just thought, I was sitting there like in my own mask of like, well, I don't want him to feel like bad or uncomfortable, but he's full of it. Like this is so clear. And I remember distinctly this moment when I was like, okay, why am I doing therapy? My clients need real connection. They need honesty. And I'm gonna I'm gonna push this guy and not show up as I normally do. And I got this visceral response, this like knot in my throat, um, this dry mouth, nervousness. And he's like babbling on about all the justifications of everything that he's doing. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I spoke up and I just said, what are you talking about? Like, I want you to get better. And if you keep thinking this way, you're going to continue to harm yourself. And I kind of went off a little bit, probably a little too long because I swung the pendulum the other way. But what was fascinating is he looked at me like, I can't believe you just said that to me. Especially coming from me, who was Mr. Nice Guy and had never made waves. And what's fascinating is what happened with the group is when I stepped up into truth and practiced that courage and authenticity, it gave permission for the rest of the group to do so. It gave permission for them to be like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, this is what I see. I'm worried for you because of this or because of that way that you're thinking. And I love you and I care about you. But this, if you stay in this denial, it's not going to work. And the guy left group, I think, in a pretty tough spot because he didn't expect that level of feedback and authenticity. I left group with a bit of a vulnerability hangover myself because I wasn't used to being that honest and authentic. But then the next week, well, one of the guys said that was the best group we've ever had. The next week, that guy showed up and he said, he came and like shook my hand and he just said like, thank you so much. And it hit me like, okay, I've been trying to act opposite to get the reaction that he just gave me. And and what was interesting is when he gave me that, he said, thank you so much. It wasn't like I was like, yay, yeah, I did it. It was just like, it was just like, yeah, like that was I just stepped into honesty and truth. Anyways, I'm going on a little long about this example, but the reason I'm bringing it up is to illustrate how facing that fear and practicing that courage leads to connection. This happens in relationships, in marriages all the time. How many, it's when there's a lot of secrets going on and you come forth and you say, I'm going to be honest about this. It's painful, it's hard, and it leads to actual connection. If you have big secrets and you're hiding and because you're scared you're going to get rejected, you are creating more rejection in your life. You're continuing to create rejection. Open yourself up, show yourself. Face the fear of abandonment and rejection and be honest. Get to know those protective parts, those masks that you have. They come in all different shapes and sizes and forms. And by the way, you guys, these masks are not bad things. We're not fighting against them. They're there to protect you. So we want the way to the way to step into your authenticity is not to fight against your masks and your shame. It's actually to really get to know your masks and your shame, appreciate them, and unburden them when you need to. Did you hear what I said? Unburden them. They they feel like they have this need, this burden to protect you. And all you have to say is, look, I appreciate you. Thank you for stepping up to try to help me, but I'm okay. I can step into this. When you start to overcompensate, unburden that mask. When you start to turn the tables and get aggressive, unburden that mask or that protective part or whatever we want to call it. When you shy away and know that deep down you want to put yourself out there, but you're scared to, unburden that mask and step in to your power, step into your truth, step into your authenticity so that you can be seen, so that you can be known. There has to be some level of rejection in order for you to experience a fullness of connection. What I mean by that is if you put yourself fully out there in this world, some people are not going to like it. But guess what? Those just aren't your people. It's okay to have some haters. It's okay to have some people that are like, ugh. It might be your family member or where they're used to you masking up and they're used to you showing up a certain way. And when you change and become yourself, they're like, nah, where's the mask? They might reject you. It's still worth showing up authentic. No doubt about it. And it will change your relationships. It'll change the circles in which you connect. But the people that you connect with, you'll have real connection. So you got to face that fear of rejection. And facing that fear of rejection does not mean that rejection won't happen. In fact, it means that rejection will happen. I tell a story of that client and group, and yeah, the next week we had a little kumbaya. But I've had plenty of groups where we've had some authentic feedback and connection, and I've gotten really harsh emails and people quit group as a result. They don't like that level of authenticity. It's funny, it polarizes the group because a lot of the group members are like, yes, like finally, I've been looking for therapy like this where we can face the hard stuff and we can get real and honest and connect. And then the guys that don't want to, or the women that don't want to, are just like, I'm out. Um, yeah, Tyler and I, we've gotten several nasty reviews. And I don't want a bunch of nasty reviews, so please But I actually am, this is going to sound weird, but I'm actually a little bit proud of that, because what that means is we say some difficult things that are hard to hear, even if they're taboo or whatever, but if they're real and they're truth, then that will lead to some people really not liking it. So I think I've driven this point home. Not everybody's going to like you when you're authentic, but enough people will. And a lot more people will connect to you. I promise you, you're lovable. I promise you, you're beautiful. I promise you, you're unique. And God built you just the way that you are for a reason. And if you know that, then let it rip. Throw it out there. Be you. Face that fear of rejection. Thanks for listening, you guys. Until next time, keep on keeping on.